Hi guys, happy Monday or happy Tuesday. Really good job on your permutations last week. I got some really good questions, which I like a lot. I'm worried about your reflex and your dream box. Some of you are asking me how you can raise your grade before the school year is over. Of course, your grade can't go down from whatever it was on March 13th, but it can go up. And that's going to be for a lot of you dream box and reflex because some of you were kind of slacking off during the school year. So that's going to raise your grade a lot. I promise. Get to it. With reflex, I don't think that you can do it every single day. I don't think you can do all 4 in one day. I think you have to do 1 per day for 4 days. So don't slack off. Here's your answers for your homework. Go ahead in the Edpuzzle, answer number 2. There's your answer for number 2. I'm waiting in the Google Hangouts if you have questions. Oh no, it didn't show. And it won't leave. Weird. Okay, there's your answer for number 2, and now you're gonna do your answer for number 8 in the Edpuzzle. Good job. If you have questions, please, I'm sitting in Google Hangouts. I'm waiting to answer your questions. Some of you are telling your parents that you need help and then they're emailing me, which is just fine. But my answer is tell them to get into Google Hangouts with me and then I help you there. So don't waste time and just come ask me for help. We're going to learn some new stuff today. It's one of my favorite lessons to teach. I have like 100 favorite lessons to teach, but it's one of them. Oh, also, I made a mistake in the video last week, and so many of you emailed me to let me know about the mistake, and I love it. Thank you for letting me know about the mistake. I'm sorry. I tried to fix it in the Edpuzzle before I posted it, and then I thought it was fixed, and then it was just too late. So I promise I'll never make a mistake again. Yeah, sure. I promise I'll never make a mistake again, but if I do, please just send me an email, and I'll try my best not to make any more mistakes. So sorry. Some of you were very mad. Let's look at our new stuff. We're going to continue with probability, except now we're talking about the probability of more than one thing. We're going to talk about multiple events. I think today maybe we get to 3 events. Maybe we're only talking about 2 events. But here's what I'm talking about. A card is drawn from a deck of 10 cards, numbers 1 through 10, and a number cube, a dice, is rolled. Find each probability. So right here, they talked about the deck of cards first, so the 10 is about the deck of cards. They talked about the dice second, so the 3 is about the dice. What's the probability that out of 10 cards, we pick the number 10? Well, that probability is 1 out of 10. And what is the probability that we roll a 3? Well, there's 6 sides on a dice. There's only one way that we can roll a 3. So there we have it. We have 2 separate probabilities, but we're looking for the probability that both of these things will happen at the same time. 1 over 10 and 1 over 6. We're just going to multiply these 2 probabilities, and that's going to give us our answer. So 1 over 10 times 1 over 6. Hopefully you guys remember that with fractions, you just have to multiply straight across. So that's going to be 1 over 60. And you know that I like percents. This is going to be a teeny tiny percent. It is not very likely at all that this is going to happen. When I put it into my calculator, I got 0.016 repeating, which means 1.6 repeating percent. There is a 1.6% chance that this would happen. Let's take a look at another problem. What is the probability that, these boxes, what is the probability that we would get 2 even numbers? So out of 10 cards, let's see, we got a 2, a 4, a 6, an 8, or a 10. There are 5 out of 10 ways that we can get an even number from picking a card. And on the dice, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 4, and 6. We have 3 ways out of 6 to get an even number. Now, we could multiply right now, or I'm sure some of you are already like having heart palpitations where you're sitting because these fractions are so upsetting to you. We can simplify before we multiply, and it's going to make our life easier. Instead of 5 over 10, that's the same thing as 1/2. Instead of 3 over 6, that's also the same thing as 1/2. So now we can multiply those. That's going to be 1 over 4, or 25%. There's a 25% chance that if we pick a card and then roll the dice, that it's going to be 2 even numbers. Pretty cool? Yeah, pretty cool. I know that you guys are really excited about this. I think it's cool. What is the probability that we would get two numbers less than 4? So if we're thinking about numbers less than 4, that's going to be 3, 2, and 1. So there are 3 ways to get a number less than 4 out of 10 with that deck of cards. And there are 3, 2, and 1, 3 ways to get a number less than 4 out of 6. Oh no, I gotta bring my dog to the bathroom. Hold on one second. Hold on, I'll be right back. Good news, no accidents in the house. Sorry for pausing on you. Okay, so 2 numbers less than 4. There were 3 ways out of 10 and 3 ways out of 6 for the dice. We should simplify first though, so we'll keep that 3 out of 10 and multiply it by 1/2. So this becomes 3 out of 20. And 3 out of 20 is the same thing as 15%. There is a 15% chance that that would happen. These events on this page are called independent. This vocabulary I'm not going to focus on for these lessons because as long as you can do the math, I don't care if you know that they're independent or dependent. But these are independent because what's happening with the first event is not affecting the second event. No matter what, the way you roll a dice isn't going to change depending on what number you pull from a card. On the next page, we're going to look at dependent events, and you'll see what I mean. You'll see the difference. So these are dependent. There are 4 red, 6 green, and 5 yellow pencils in a jar. 4 red, 6 green, and 5 yellow pencils in a jar. So that's 15 total pencils. Once a pencil is selected, it is not replaced. These are called dependent events because when I take a pencil out, it's going to change what's happening for the next event. So the second event depends on the first event. So we're going to look at the probability that I pull out a red pencil and then a yellow pencil. There are 4, 6, 5, 15 pencils. 4 of them are red out of the 15. Now I took that red pencil out and I'm not putting it back in. So now there are not 15 pencils that I'm choosing from anymore. There are only 14 pencils. 14 pencils are left. One of them was red and I took that out and I put it away. Now we have 5 yellow pencils to choose from. So these are the 2 numbers that I'm going to be multiplying together. I'm going to simplify in advance if you remember how to do that. I hope, of course you do. 2 and 7, some of you call that cross canceling. The probability of this happening is 2 over 21, 2 times 1, 3 times 7, or if I turn that into a percent, that is 9.5%. There's a 9.5% chance that's happening. Okay, so these are called dependent events because what's happening in the second time depends on what already happened the first time. Let's look at another example. We're putting all those pencils back into the jar for our next problem. We are looking at the probability of pulling out a red pencil. So that's going to be 4 out of 15. And then a green pencil. There are 6 green pencils, but there's only 14 pencils left to choose from. So we could multiply these now, or we can simplify in advance. 2 and 5. And this would become a 2 and a 7. Did I do that right? I got distracted. Divide by 3, divide by 2. Yep. So this is 4 out of 35. If we did this 35 times, it would only happen 4 times that we pick a green and then a red. Or let's turn this into a percent so we can really understand what that number means. 11.4% chance. Okay. Please come ask me questions in the Google Hangouts if you need any help. I'm going to skip that one, but I am going to do this one right here. This is a good one. What is the probability of pulling out 2 green pencils? So we're starting over. We have all our pencils. Let's clear this mess. We are starting over. We have all of our 15 pencils back in that jar. What is the probability that we pull out 2 green pencils? So we're starting with 6 green out of 15 pencils. We pull out a green one and we put it aside. Now we only have 5 green pencils left out of 14 pencils. It's a lot to think about. Please come ask me for help if you have any questions. I'll simplify in advance again. So this is, ooh, look at that. It's 1/7. Did I do that right? Let's see, 6 and 14, that's a 3 and a 7, 1 and a 3, 3 and a 3. Cool, 1/7. That's an ugly fraction. I don't really understand what that means. So 1 divided by 7, the probability of me pulling out 2 green pencils is 14.3%. So these are dependent events, like I said. And again, the vocabulary here is not important. There is important vocabulary in math, not here. So now it's your turn for the Ed puzzle. In the Ed puzzle, go ahead and do number 1. The probability should be 1 out of 24, and 1 divided by 24 is 4.16%. We'll change that to 4.2%. I think my husband's making me dinner. Okay, your job right now for the Ed puzzle, go ahead and work on number 2. 3 out of 6 ways we can roll an odd number, 1 out of 4 ways that we can spin and land on a B. Gross, we should simplify 1/2 times 1/4. This is 1/8, and you guys know that that's 12.5%. Come ask me questions if you need help. These are independent events because the way that we spin has nothing to do with what happened in the first event, the way that we rolled the dice. Now let's look at some dependent events for your Ed puzzle. Go ahead and work on number 15. There are 6 marbles in the bag, 3 out of 6 ways that we could pull out a red one, and 1 blue marble. After we pull out the red one, we don't put it back. We're putting it on the side, so there are only 5 marbles left. So this is going to be 1/2 times 1/5. This is 1/10. If you got 10%, you did a great job. 10% for that probability. And now put all the marbles back in the bag. Go ahead, work on number 16. 2 yellow marbles out of 6. Now that we've taken one of those yellow marbles away, we only have 1 yellow marble left out of 5. 2 out of 6 times 1 out of 5. Ooh, we should simplify. I don't know what I'm thinking over here. I'm starting to think about dinner. That's what's happening. 1/15, and that probability, since you get to use your calculators, is 6.6 repeating, or 6.7%. There's a 6.7% chance of that happening. Come ask me questions if you need help, please. I know that this stuff is weird and it's new, but hopefully you think it's kind of fun, or maybe it's just me because I'm such a nerd. Here's your homework, guys. 2 dream box, 4 reflex. Go do one now, and then do one tomorrow, and then the next day, and the next day, and that's 4. You have to do 4. Dream box, do it all at once, save it until Sunday, do 1 a day. I don't care, get it over with is what I would do. And also do page 779. Let me know if you need any help with anything. I'll see you on Wednesday, Thursday. Bye.